Hey, this video is for Tuesday, December the 8th for 12th grade English. I'm going to open up our agenda here. This is a day really about WALL-E. Again, we're doing WALL-E tomorrow as well. Today we practiced using Schoology conferences because it's so much better for screening movies in class. So next week, that's how we'll be conducting our class since we're watching a full-length film to analyze it. So we practiced that. If you're watching the video, you weren't in on the practice, and that's fine. Then in class together, we completed yesterday's STEM because yesterday was devoted so much to practicing Schoology conferences. And I talked a little bit about sound devices today. That was really the topic of today, was how does a film use sound? So your kernel sentence for today, WALL-E mixes sounds. So I'd like you to take some of what I'm teaching you now and incorporate it into your STEM. The language of sound. We're going to talk about this using Mr. Klobuchar's presentation, so that's where I got all of these slideshows that I might be using for our film portion. He is the one teaching the film class next semester at Monticello High School, and he's a colleague of mine and a friend. So when we're talking about sound, one of the first things that Mr. Klobuchar notices is sound is something that we tend to ignore in a film. We don't see it as visually important as the film itself, because it happens in the background, and that mimics the way we live. So the sound is sort of invisible in many ways. In all ways, it's invisible, but to our ears even, we don't necessarily hear it. So we're going to take a minute to just really fixate on what sound can do in a film. There's two kinds of sounds when it comes to the world of film, and I'd like you to write these in your big Google Doc for today, Tuesday, December 8th. So you'll have these two definitions, and then we'll move into the study of WALL-E. The first is called diegetic sound. It's going to fill in here as I talk through it. So diegetic sound in a film, it's got a source in the film itself. So if I'm filming myself now and you are listening, if my dog were to bark in the background, that would be a diegetic sound. It's captured by the film. It's got a source in the story world. It could be dialogue, monologue, the words that are spoken by characters. It could be the sound a character makes as they put something down. It could be music that's represented by instruments that are on the film, on the screen. The opposite is non-diegetic sound, so put that in your big Google Doc as well. Non-diegetic sound is sound that has a source outside of the story world and has been layered on to the film to add some sort of enhancement, whether it's amplifying something that the producer or the director wants to recognize, or whether it's to clarify plot. The way that you see this the most is soundtracks, music that is built in after the sound or after the film is made. And I see this all the time whenever I watch film, but for whatever reason, it's really come into sharp focus for me right now as I watch Toy Story again and again and again and again with my 3-year-old. And at the very beginning of the film, if you've seen it, Andy is playing with his toys. So everybody is acting out this scene. And then after the intro, we start to roll the credits. And at that moment, Randy Newman's song, "You've Got a Friend in Me," starts coming on the top of the film. So that is non-diegetic sound. It's a soundtrack. It's actually a wonderful song and won awards for Best Original Song that was created to accompany the film. But it's not part of the scene. It's not like Woody is singing that song. So we looked at this example, which I can't show you because of copyright, but in the film Stagecoach, I'll just tell you what happens. This woman is under attack, and there's this really intense instrumental that's playing in the background. And it's amping up the action and the drama. And just at the moment where she could be killed by Indians, there's problematic moments with this scene, but it's 1939, and it was depicting Apache Indians coming after a stagecoach. So at that moment of the most intensity, there is this trumpet, and it sounds like it's in the song, the sounds that are building to this intensity. But it's actually the sound of a charging cavalry coming to save her. You don't know that at first, though. And that's the cool thing about WALL-E, too. The non-diegetic sound and the diegetic sound kind of mix and come together. So with that, we then watched WALL-E. And that's what I'd like you to do if you're watching this video. It's linked on the agenda. You can watch it on your own device. I cannot play it here in the video. Watch this with an eye to how it mixes the sound outside of the story with the sound inside of the story. And what we talked about a lot with that was the music of Hello Dolly. That's the musical you hear as the opening scene comes in. And it comes back because we learn that Wally, the robot, just loves this musical. So he plays it for himself as he goes around cleaning up trash. So it's both non-diegetic, it's sound edited in, and it's part of the story. It's both things. It's very cool. And show me what you think about that by writing your kernel sentence, Wally mixes sounds. And that's class today.